Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's Bear Facts Friday. Hope that everybody is safe and healthy and having a great week. As always, myself bringing you some of the big news of the week and filter out the information, kind of give you what you should know. Mark's going to offer perspective, and because Lisa is not here today, there's no wisdom to offer, so we'll have to do without. But to the news of the week, or I think what's important, or is on the horizon, and potentially even a deal gets done today or next week. But I expect something to be accomplished regarding the next stimulus package. And I want to talk about what we think will be in it, more or less. And so what is not italicized, I feel pretty confident that there's will make it into the next package. So first is an additional stimulus check. So everybody who made under a certain amount got $1,200. The example that I showed is what's being proposed is a couple with two dependents, married, made under $130,000. They have two kids under the age of 17, could get as much as 3,400 from this next package. Um, there's also $600 additional unemployment that people are getting now who are laid off during the pandemic. That's on top of the state unemployment. There's a federal unemployment for an additional 600. So if you were getting, typically it's about 300 from state, an additional 600. That's $900 a week. I expect there's going to be something pass for unemployment that the federal government's going to come in on top of the state. Democrats want to extend the $600. Republicans want to make it a percentage of earnings. I think they're leaning towards just making it another flat 600 and extending that for a period of time. PPP loan for new PPP for businesses who experience significant revenue losses from the prior year, up to 50%. I expect there to be something along those lines in this next package. Refundable tax credits for businesses that kept employees. So you actually get a credit, and if you're at a refund, you can even get a refund with that. Most of the time, tax credits can offset what you owe, but you're not going to actually get that money back. This is proposed that you'll actually receive receive money back. What it is exactly, I'm not sure, but essentially a tax credit, a federal income tax credit that that you're not going to have to pay taxes on. And then also, I expect something along the lines where if you were laid off and you went back to work and got a new job, the federal government will give you an up to $450 a week on top of your income from the new job, as a way to encourage people to go back to work. Then also some sort of eviction protection. There's still some partisanship dealing with this issue and how it's going to work out. I expect there will be some sort of eviction protection in this package, because we are facing potentially a mass amount of people that won't be able to pay their bill with whatever the unemployment rate now, won't be able to pay their leases. And then this is what the real debate is about right now, is the potential payroll tax cut. So what that means is, everybody, as an employee, you pay 7.65% of your paycheck up to 130 up to the first $130,000 you make in FICA taxes, which is your payroll taxes, and a potential cut of that, or a temporary cut, and that goes to pay for Social Security and for Medicare. So we're still waiting to see what finally gets passed, but this is what's talk of what's in it, and the mass majority of what I mentioned here, up to the payroll tax cut, I feel pretty confident will be in the next stimulus package one way or another. Mark?
All right, that's a great overview. There's a lot to unpack and see what ultimately happens next week, maybe if we get some word on that. And switching gears to perspective this week, I want to ask you the question of what would you do? And specifically, what would you do if you owned the e-commerce becoming a giant, Shopify? I'm sure many of you have heard of that. It's a stock that has done really, really well since debuting not too long ago, a couple of years ago. And it's easy to talk about it in hypotheticals, like you're on the screen, versus if you were actually in the situation and going through the motions at the time and having ownership in it. But let's say in your first 2 years of owning Shopify, you tripled your money. You put 100 grand in and it became 300 grand in a pretty short amount of time. What do you think that you would do at that point? Try to visualize that, put yourself in those shoes. I know for me, it'd be hard to say anything other than, well, seemingly I would cash out, assuming it was in a qualified account with no tax implications, and be very, very satisfied with that investment. That goes without saying. But over that 5-year period, what if your initial investment not just tripled, but went up significantly, 10, 20, 30 fold? Along the way, it's done different things, but your maybe minimal investment now could be life-changing money, depending on when you get in and when you get out. It's impossible to really say what you would do. Hindsight is a hell of a drug, as we always say, so no one would actually know. But going through and riding that wave along the way, it's just tough to know. But really, the reason that we're asking this question is because, you might pick an individual stock and it ends up being an absolute dud. In fact, a lot of companies make up just a very small percentage of the market performance. And inversely, a really small number of companies make up a huge percentage of market performance. And so you've got to kind of get lucky in a sense, as time and studies have proven over and over again. Picking individual stocks and really getting those winners is more about luck, and that's fine. You're probably going to hit some home runs, even if it means you hold many more that didn't do so well. But even if you do pick those home runs, trying to understand how would you behave and how would you respond along the way is also important to understand and really have a strategy for it. And knowing what would I do if I do find myself in that situation, and what would be the tax ramifications and any other costs to me on my investment journey. So it's fun to look at these types of things, but just understand, some of it is luck, getting in at the right time and just happening to ride it out along the way, and some of it you might consider to be skill. But as far as how we think about investment philosophy, this shouldn't be the main way for building an entire portfolio, for building long-term wealth. It's just proven time and again, you've heard us talk about it, that maybe picking individual stocks and seeing what happens and holding them long-term for that desired performance is part of what you do. But we really believe that even if you hit some home runs like this, having a more broadly diversified portfolio is going to help get you to a better investment performance and experience over the long term. So that's our perspective for the day. And thanks for tuning in, everybody, this week. Hope you'll have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.